Hola y bienvenidos a la Deuces Wild Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente de mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Will the Thrill. Miguelito San Dieguito. Or Hunter Pence. But in their spirit, we properly salute our boys to kick off the show each and every single day. Yes, 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 yes. Woo! Remember this, folks, when we are juiceful, we are useful. And when we are juiceless, we are simply fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the 10th day of January 2024. I actually sent out the Daily Hustle this morning and titled it the 9th of January. And look, it happens. I wrote this one yesterday and I held it back because we didn't do a show. It's still up for debate whether or not we do go with the double duty when we have a Deuces Wild, for example. So we have the Daily Hustles that have been uploaded and will continue to get uploaded to the Daily Hustle pod on Apple, Spotify, everything else. But we're also feeding it to the Deuces Wild, too, to make sure that that crowd is thoroughly entertained and we can give them some more content, at least if they want to listen to it, watch it, whatever. I just feel like it's important to try to keep everybody engaged. And then last night, we got Hunter Pence on. Thrill was at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame banquet, so was unable to attend. And Hunter came on last night and absolutely killed it. The insight that this dude has, the wisdom, the perspective on life is very unique. And of all the players I'd say that I ever played with, against, watched, I would put him towards the very top of the list. And it's not in a way like I was a fan of Will Clark, right? Well, that's a little different because I was a kid. I watched Will growing up. Hunter, I look at as a contemporary. As a matter of fact, you know, he's younger than I am. And so I've always said I have the rule that I'll never wear a jersey of somebody younger. And that was just my way of, I think, paying homage to all the greats that have gone before. Well, if there is a baseball jersey of a dude that I would wear that is younger, it's Hunter Pence. It's just, again, like I have respect for people that attack life in a way that inspires me. And when I look at Hunter in the way, whether it's through the broadcasting or what he's doing with Perfect Game, what he's doing with his baseball facility, and everything, the way he played the game, the all-out effort, that is what we need more of in Major League Baseball. So just real stoked to have him on. We're going to try to get him on a lot more in this upcoming baseball season. He's just so gosh damn good. He's really busy too. So that becomes, you know, one of the main issues. And once the season gets going, I got to believe he's going to be doing a lot of Giants games. He's a special assistant to the Giants. So he has that role there. He's got all this stuff he does with Perfect Game. But to get him on last night for, I don't know, we were on for about an hour. If you haven't watched it, go back, check it out. It was fucking fantastic. So, all right, here is today's Daily Hustle electronic email communication sent out just a few minutes ago. Buenos dias. Today is Wednesday, January 10th. I just edited it on the spot. 2024. On this day in 2007, Steve Jobs announced the very first iPhone, known as the iPhone 1. But hold on a second, folks, because we cannot forget to get in our title sponsor, Bet Online. That's right. The only people that don't get time off this time of year are the pro athletes and the people at Bet Online. NFL, bowl season. Well, bowl season's over. NBA in full swing. Bet Online is not taking a second off to make sure you have all the up-to-date second odds, news, and info. Bet Online has all the sports wagering info you need with both desktop and mobile access. Head there today to get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the spot for all of you degenerates to lay your action. That's not in the read. It's just created here on the spot. Also, don't forget about our proud sponsors over at KT Tape. This isn't a joke. Callie's back has been hurting. So she's skiing. She's been trying to get a 10-second handstand. I told her I'd give her $100 if she's able to pull it off. So she's up to about like 7-8 seconds right now. But unfortunately, a few times she's toppled over the other way, and Tara's pissed that I threw this challenge out. I still think it's good. So her lower back is hurting. So I brought her down some KT tape this morning. She put it on her back. She says it's already feeling better. And she asked me, she goes, how does it work? Why would tape make it feel better? I said, well, look, it's very simple. We put the tape on. The tape lifts the skin. It then promotes blood flow to the area. It reduces inflammation, and it alleviates pain. KT Tape, proud sponsor of No Filter Network and the Deuces Wild Daily Hustle. Deflaming muscle since its creation. Then lastly, to focus for the show, that's right, we got Tri-Verge. So not only do you have the little shots, but you got these things right here. It's cannabis, it's lemon, it's honey. It's fucking fantastic. Go see our boy Jory over at triverge.com. Okay, back to the Daily Hustle email now that I got all that out of the way. The Daily Hustle quote of the day. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify them, or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Think Different, Apple Campaign, 1997. Daily Hustle translation. Steve Jobs and the culture he helped create at Apple has certainly changed the world. Apple is a $3 trillion company, but as Jobs suggested when he was still alive, being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter, but going to bed knowing that he created something wonderful does. Rest easy, Steve-O. What you and the Apple family have created and continue to create is simply fucking revolutionary. At many points of my life, I unquestionably have felt like the misfit. On the baseball field, I was a kid that tried really hard but looked a bit awkward and was often ridiculed for my perceived over-the-top, wild, and reckless style of play. In the media world, many people don't like the way I look, the way I talk, or the way I tend to share my unfiltered and honest opinions. When Giuseppe Pepe Manueli and I created No Filter Network, based on the concept of providing live, interactive, alternative commentary, people in the traditional media industry questioned if the concept would ever work. Then, a very short time later, the Manning brothers were on ESPN doing the exact same thing. Imitation is flattery. While competing in endurance sports or on the pickleball court, I am often dismissed as the old baseball player that no one wants to take serious. When coaching baseball, other coaches' teams and parents gawk at everything about our Let Them Play team. The name, the uniforms, the pregame routine, constantly bumping music, and the fact that we are from Lake Tahoe. Right up to the point when we start kicking their dicks in. When I wanted to write my first book, the publisher I met with did not believe I could write it by myself and insisted on me hiring a ghostwriter. 4 books in now, with the latest release of the future best-selling masterpiece, Let Them Play, a parenting and coaching guide to youth sports, I humbly salute him. So, if you just so happen to be one of the crazy ones, I do realize how lonely it can be at times. That said, let's not ever let the outside world squash our drive, shatter our dreams, or suppress our efforts. We are the ones who are in the arena, and we most definitely are the crazy-ass motherfuckers who will continue to redefine what's possible and push this world forward. EB, I like that one. I really do. It is. I mean, every now and again you get done with a daily hustle. You're like, yeah, it was man. Or it's like, oh, it was really good. This one, in my opinion, really good. P.S. To pick up a limited edition copy of the brand new Let Them Play book, click the pick below. So here's the pick that comes. That's the little umpire, dude. That umpired the Bananas game. I think he's, I don't know, 9 years old, something like that. Officially, the book will not be released until February, but we have a small batch we are selling through ericbyrnes.com right now. They will sell out, and when they are gone, they're gone. As USA Baseball President John C. Gall suggests, this book is a must-read for any coach, parent, or player at any level. Simple as that. So, let's fire open the chat this morning. By the way, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever, we're live and interactive on No Filter Network if you want to listen in the mornings. Usually film this sometime between 8 and 10 a.m. We had a little bit of a technical issue this morning. Otherwise, I actually was going to be on at night. We got a snowstorm firing out here. The heavy stuff has not hit. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, my wife's outside carrying the trash. Guy came down. Our car's blocking it. It's dumping snow outside. Now, again, it's not the heavy stuff yet, but we've, I don't know, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches so far. Not enough for Stormy Byrnes to come out. But nonetheless, storms across the country are firing. I mean, like tremendously. Let's see here. It says storms envelop much of the United States, bringing heavy snow, rains, and tornadoes. Brutal winter weather enveloped. I like that word, envelope. And by the way, John Davis, good morning. Jason, what's up, my man? And John Emmanuel Ramos Anderson, Makati City International once again, motherfuckers. You got Jean out in Minnesota. We got Michelle in Scottsdale. Actually, she's not in Scottsdale. She's in AZ, though. But she's over in the, what do they call it? The land of the fake lakes, where Kowalski is in Mesa, Arizona. High winds and a few tornadoes ripped through parts of the South earlier on Tuesday, with at least 3 deaths attributed to the weather in Alabama, North Carolina, and Georgia. According to authorities and local media reports, tornadoes caused heavy damage in parts of the Florida Panhandle. Those are the one, like hurricane, man. Okay, I've been through a hurricane. Earthquake, I've dealt with earthquake. It's all about obviously being in a protected spot or a building that's earthquake retrofit. Scary things. Tornadoes, they'll fuck you up, man. Oh, I am not interested at all in dealing with any kind of tornado. Now, I have seen the movie Twister. And if you're any sort of adrenaline junkie, it's, yeah. I mean, you watch that, and if you don't want to be a storm chaser, there's something wrong with you. All right, let's see here. Heavy rains and high winds hit a big chunk of the East Coast on Tuesday, will continue into Wednesday. The National Weather Service said 3 more inches of rain was forecast for a wide swath of the Northeast, where some areas were hit with heavy snows last week and increasing the risk of significant flooding. Storms have knocked out power to over 418,000 homes and businesses in 12 different states. The extreme weather follows a record number of billion-dollar disasters in the U.S. last year. Forecasters said the conditions in the Midwest and East Coast will gradually improve on Wednesday. In the Pacific Northwest, a separate storm system is producing blizzard conditions that will continue into Wednesday, producing several feet of snow at the higher elevations in the Cascade Mountains in Washington and Oregon. The storm system will strengthen as it roars over the Rockies and onto the Central Plains by Thursday. I mean, can we get some love out here, please? I don't think we're asking for too much. The Cali storm. 2 storms are headed to California, with one bringing severe impact. So the one yesterday came, and it was weak. I mean, just spitting out a little bit of snow here, a little bit of snow there. Just no force behind this thing. It was really weird because it would seem like it was blizzarding 1 minute, and then it was sunny the next. I've seen all sorts of different days out here when it comes to the weather, right? We're in the mountains where it's about 7,000 feet. Feel like I've seen, I don't want to say it all, but I've seen a lot. I've never seen a day like yesterday. Blizzard, sunshine. Blizzard, sunshine. It was like Stormy Byrnes wanted to come out. It's like, oh, see, this is nothing. So anyhow, right now, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for northern and central Sierras, including Lake Tahoe. That's us, from 10 p.m. on Tuesday until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. More than 2 feet of snow is expected at the Donner Summit. I mean, that's right here. So I don't know when this snow is coming, but hopefully soon. Localized accumulations up to 3 feet. This is the shit I want to hear. Up to 1.5 feet is possible around Lake Tahoe. So we're above lake level here. I mean, we haven't gotten a 1.5 inch yet. Let's stay optimistic. Okay. Let's get into the top news stories. We have one here. Look, we're a life optimization baseball podcast, first and foremost. And this is a fascinating anti-aging article. And basically lays out the different ways to live a long life. It's as simple as that. All right, I'm going to rip through them. We don't have a ton of time. But again, I'd like to come on here and give you guys a blueprint for anti-aging. Science says it's time to rethink and take control of your body's age. Here's how to slow, halt, and potentially turn back your biological clock. Somewhere between 75 and 95% of lifespan is down to lifestyle and luck. Number 1, maintain your muscles. Doctors joke that if exercise were a drug, everyone would be queuing up to take it. Alas, getting fit is harder than simply popping a pill, and most of us don't get enough of this miracle treatment, even though it seems to be able to slow the aging process. Most of us know that we should be getting 150 minutes of moderate activity, such as brisk walking, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise per week. What's often overlooked is the strength training. Resistance exercise can help preserve bone density and muscle mass, which are really important as we age for a variety of reasons. Muscles even help us regulate your blood sugar levels after meals, which our bodies often get worse as we age. Number 2 here, brush your teeth. That's right. One of the most surprising connections in aging biology is that between good oral hygiene and living longer. The first hints of this came with studies noting that people with less tooth decay and gum disease seem to have fewer heart attacks than those with worse oral health. The exact link was unclear. There could have been an unrelated factor behind this correlation, or it might be that more health conscious people spend more time brushing their teeth and engaging in other behaviors like eating well. Look, brush your fucking teeth. It's as simple as that. I tell my kids that all the time. It 1000% has been linked to heart health as well. I do know that. Get enough sleep, but not too much. You've heard it before. Studies suggest that the sweet spot for sleep is around 7 to 8 hours per night. But what you may not have heard as much is having too much sleep can have a detrimental effect on your health. Regularly getting over 9 hours of shut-eye a night is associated with higher risk of death than getting as little as 4. Ha! Think about that. Somewhere there's a sweet spot, and it's between 4 and 9 hours. Don't go less than 4. Do not go over 9. All right, the next one, always wear sunscreen. For all the portions of making promises in the beauty aisle, by far the most effective anti-aging cream is sunscreen, as well as causing skin cancer. Ultraviolet light emitted by the sun accelerates the aging of the skin through a few different mechanisms. Next one. And this is appropriate, obviously, because I come on here on the Daily Hustle and I wear sunglasses every day. It says, wear sunglasses all year round. It's not only your skin that you need to keep safe from the sun. Looking after your eyes is just as important. And the effects of shielding them could include preventing dementia. That's because the damage that can be done by ultraviolet light has consequences that stretch beyond vision. For example, the proteins in the lenses of your eyes are normally transparent, but UV damage may cause clouding and yellowing, which, if it gets severe enough, is known as a cataract. Next one here, prepare for future super drugs. Perhaps the most important health tip for all of us in the medium term is to learn a bit more about the biology of aging. That's because there are drugs on the horizon that can slow down the aging process and keep more of us healthier for longer. Some could be drugs already available today, like metformin, a diabetes drug, or rapamycin, given to help transplant patients, which seem to have a broad anti-aging effect. Other new treatments could target one or more of the hallmarks of aging, such as so-called senolytic drugs designed to remove certain misbehaving cells known as senescent cells. They accumulate in our bodies as we get older. The science of longevity offers the promise of treatments for more powerful than the lifestyle tips currently at our disposal. That's just another reason to stay healthy as possible with the tools of today in order to still be around to be able to benefit from the game-changing therapies of tomorrow. All right, don't waste your savings. Perhaps the most talked about story in aging biology of late has been the tale of the American entrepreneur Brian Johnson, who's burning $2 million of his reported $400 million fortune every year on dozens of tests, hundreds of daily pills and supplements, and an extreme diet, exercise, and sleep regimen in hope of stopping his biological aging. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to blame him for doing it. At some point, you got to get busy fucking living, though, right? We're all going to die. So, knowing that, do you want to spend your entire life trying to stay alive when I mean, at some point, it's out of your control. I do commend. So maybe that is living for him. That's his passion, and that's what he is striving to accomplish in life. I mean, I'm okay with that. I am. But I just want to make sure that when he rests his head on the pillow at night, like Steve Jobs said, and bringing it back to the beginning of the Daily Hustle, he did something wonderful. So I'm sure he'd probably argue that he is. Wash your hands is the next one. If you heard it once during the pandemic, then you heard it 1,000 times. Wash your hands for 20 seconds and be sure to scrub between your fingers and get under your nails. We were told it would save lives by reducing the risk of infection, but washing your hands can boost your life expectancy too. How? Firstly, we know that certain infectious diseases have direct link to non-infectious ones later in life. From human, let's see, HPV being the leading cause of cervical cancer to a virus called CMV that seems to accelerate the aging of the immune system. After an initial infection that's usually comparable to a mild cold, CMV hides away in your cells. Yeah, okay. Wash your fucking hands. That's it. So there is the live optimization part of our show. Let's get to, I like this story right here. I really do. Freddie Freeman and his wife went to the Golden Globes and photobombed Taylor Swift. This isn't a joke. I mean, you're Freddie fucking Freeman. Don't be afraid to ask for a pic. It says a couple who attended the 2024 Golden Globes at Beverly Hills Hotel were seated 6 feet away from Swift and her date for the evening, her bestie, Kylie Sperry. And they have the photobombing proof of it. On her Instagram story, the mother of three couldn't hold back her excitement related to where they were seated and shared a few photos from the night. Quote, I keep getting tagged in this. Of course, Freddie makes the Taylor pick, and I'm blocked. Chelsea wrote with a laughing, crying emoji alongside one image, which featured Swift posing in the forefront and her husband looking in the background. This is great. All right. So here's Taylor Swift. And look at Freddie Freeman. Oh, that's so good. Who's the other guy? I don't know. No clue. I love seeing the, I don't know what you call it, the realness of the athlete. I mean, they're just like everybody else. I don't know if Freddie's a Swiftie or not. That's great. All right, MLB's best player may not be who you think it is. This is an article by our dude, Mike Petriello. We got to get him on No Filter. He is fantastic. So it says, who's the best player in baseball right now? Well, it's easy to show you Ohtani. There are either 700 million or 460 million reasons to believe so. And he just led the majors in combined wins above replacement with a 10 WAR. Won the AL MVP is second unanimously, despite not even playing after September 3rd. The case is closed. Can you imagine it being anyone else? Of course, it's him. No, it's not. I can tell you that right now. It says, or at least it would be if he were healthy, but he's not. Ohtani, a two-way superstar athlete who transcends the sport, and a few other baseball players of recent vintage have, reaches a level that no other player can touch. But Ohtani, the injured pitcher, the extremely good designated hitter, is merely one of the best players in baseball. He is not the best, at least when we're projecting out for the 2024 season. So if it's not Ohtani, who is it? Ready for this? I just like these numbers. It says, if we repeat the same method we used in 2020 and take the last 3 years of WAR and weight them 60, right? 60%, 30%, 10% by recency. So the third year would be 10%, then 30 the second year, then the year before, 60%. We find this list. Ohtani on top at 9.8 for the WAR. Mookie Betts would be in second at 7.3. The third one's just fucking fascinating to me. I know he's good. I didn't think it was this good. Marcus Semien, 6.9. Then Freddie Freeman, our guy we just showed you at 6.8. Aaron Judge at 6.5. And then Ronald Acuna Jr. at 6.1. But this gets more interesting because it says, if we look at the last two seasons and give 2023 2/3 of the weight, we end up with basically, it looks like a real similar list. So now it says, what if we roll in projections for 2024? This time we keep the original 3-year window and just take 2024 steamer projections, which, okay, I don't want to reveal it. So I'm going to reverse back to who the best player in baseball should be in 2024. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 players. Number 7, Corey Seager. Dude, he had a year last year that so many people overlooked. Hit, I think, well into the 3-somethings. Was just lights out for the Texas Rangers. Obviously, huge home run in the World Series, a huge part of that Rangers championship. Number 6, Julio Rodriguez. You wonder when he was going to make this list. Julio Rodriguez is projected for a 5.6 WAR. The Mariners outfielder is a fucking stud. We know that. But it was a matter of consistency for him. He's always seemed to get off to that slower start, or at least last year he got off to a slow start and then ended up having a great season nonetheless. Number 5. We're in the top 5 now. Juan Soto. He's going to be with the Yankees. The short porch in right field is only going to help him. Yeah, I get it. He doesn't pull the ball all the time, but he does have the ability to pull the ball. His ceiling is limitless. Number 4, Aaron Judge. So you have a Yankee at number 5 and a Yankee at number 4. Aaron Judge, obviously, when healthy, is one of the best of the game. So they're projecting out that he will be healthy for 2024. He puts up those monster numbers. He should be the 4th best player in the game. The 3rd best player in the game, projected for 2024, Shohei Ohtani. That's right. He drops 2 spots at least because he won't be pitching. It's impressive, though, that he's even fucking there in the top 3, considering he's not going to pitch, and most likely he's not going to play any defense. They have him projected for a 6.5 wins above replacement. Number 2, Dodger fans, Mookie Betts. 6.7 WAR. We know what Mookie Betts is capable of. He has been one of the most consistent, best players in baseball for damn near a decade now. He is a joy to watch. He's an incredible athlete. He is one of the best bowlers. It's not a joke, like bowlers, like actually bowling in the world. And he is projected to be the 2nd best baseball player in the world in 2024 because the top spot goes to, drum roll, please. I actually have a box drum right here. We'll save that. The top spot goes to Ronald Acuna Jr. And why not? The dude that hit over 40, ripped over 70, plays a Gold Glove caliber defense. He's a savage in every sense of the word. His work ethic is next level. They have him projected out to be the number 1 baseball player in the world for 2024. So there are your projections if you're trying to figure out who you are going to draft in the upcoming fantasy drafts that I imagine, I would say right around the corner. They're not. I have never, well, I take that back. I did play. I played fantasy baseball in college. And then when I was at MLB Network, we had DraftKings as one of our sponsors. And I started playing DraftKings like every night. And you start out like you get into like these $10 games, and then I was getting into $20 games. I was getting $100 games. Then I was getting to $500 games. It was fucking intense, man. Did it for a while. And then MLB came down and they're like, look, you guys can't be betting on this. We're like, what do you mean we can't be betting on that? Like, they're a title sponsor. And it's not like we have any extra information. I mean, it's like what we get for the most part is all public stuff. Well, you know what's funny? When it comes down to it with all the DraftKings stuff, when you go against the top players, we would have the same lineup with the exception of like one guy. I'm not kidding you. And you go head to head, right? Head to head for $500. And it would be one guy that would be the difference because all the algorithms and everything was spitting out the same shit. So all the information that I had is the information that the other guy had and whatever. So anyway, that's a habit I wouldn't mind picking back up. Actually, really enjoyed that. Okay, Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines are national champs. This dude's quirky. He was on the field with his brother, his mom, his dad, giving them hugs and kisses. It was so cool to watch. The Washington Huskies, Michael Penix Jr., what an effort. Kalen DeBoer, where he came from and where he is now. The fact that he was at Fresno State a couple years ago, sucking down a tequila with me at the Batoyan's house. And here he is on the national stage, representing well. The Michigan defense was simply too much. They allowed 10 points a game this year, 10. So I just question whether or not they would be able to stymie the offense of the Huskies, who looked so good against Texas in that semifinal game. And if there's one thing that I learned in all this is not to be overreactionary. And we watched Michael Penix Jr. in that semifinal game, and immediately I thought this is the number one pick in the NFL draft. This is the best quarterback that I've seen in college football. Absolutely, that would be the dude I would be taking. Well, careful, because Michigan's defense resembled what an NFL defense would look like. So when you have that much heat coming on a quarterback, the question is, how is he going to respond? He didn't have a great game. He panicked. He missed some easy throws. The early pressure got to him even when he did have time. Nonetheless, it doesn't take anything away from the fact that he's an absolute fucking stud. He's going to go on, in my opinion, to have a great NFL career. I'm not sure he's the number one quarterback in the draft. I'd have to research it more. I'd have to look more. And I sure as hell don't know if he should be the number one pick of the draft. But it was a dominant effort by the Wolverines. And good on them. And good for Jim Harbaugh. Good for the Harbaugh family. The fact that his father, Jack Harbaugh, has a national championship. The fact that John Harbaugh has a Super Bowl victory, which was over his brother in 2013. And then you have John Harbaugh, a national champion at Michigan. Harbaugh made a couple of jokes about now he can go sit at the big boy table. For a family that grew up in Palo Alto, and I grew up in the same area, they went to Pali High School. Like, it really does bring it home. I just think about that time, and, I'm younger than Jim Harbaugh, but growing up and watching Stanford football and just having that obsession, right, of wanting to one day play professional sports. And for me, it was, I wanted to play college sports. I want to play professional, like, to walk that path. And so for all the Harbaughs and all the men in the family, and then how about behind every great man, as alongside, I should even say behind, is a great woman. Give Mama Harbaugh some fucking love. I mean, what a terrific job she's done with, obviously, Jack, who is still coaching and helping out John. It's just, I don't know. The Harbaugh thing, I could get how and why people will look at Jim Harbaugh and be like, man, this dude's a nutbag. But there's something really endearing about him and something really endearing about the family. If you ever want to try to judge somebody, look at the way they treat their family. And that was one of the first things I saw. So to have John Harbaugh there, big hugs on the field, then to see Jim give his dad a big hug, lift him up in the air, did the same thing with his mom. I just felt like, yeah, that meant something to them. And really cool to see. Now, where is he going? We have no fucking idea. But NFL rumors, 3 teams that should dump their head coach and hire Jim Harbaugh. We're going to go 3-2-1 here. The New Orleans Saints. It says, despite being made clear by backup quarterback Jameis Winston that head coach Dennis Allen has lost control of the locker room, it seems as though he will be back in the helm in 2024. The Saints missed out on the playoffs despite posting a 9-8 record this season, but their record does not tell the full story. It was a whirlwind campaign for the Saints, who started 2-0 before falling to 5-7 and finishing strong by winning 4 of their last 5 games to finish 9-8. So the Saints could be one. This is one where, number 2 here, for whatever reason, I see this happening. If you're Jim Harbaugh, he could go just about anywhere. He really could. He's calling all of his shots right now. Well, if you can do that, the question becomes, like, where do you want to go? I'm picking a city that is a big city. I'm picking a spot that has some serious tradition. And I'm going to pick a place that I feel like has some upside. You know where that would be? The Chicago fucking Bears. Done. NFL's Network's fantasy football analyst and well-known Chicago Bears fan, Adam Rank suspects that the team could be delaying their decision on the future of head coach Matt Eberflus and offensive coordinator Luke Getsy as they wait to hear back from Jim Harbaugh following the national championship win over the Washington Huskies. If that is the case, Harbaugh expresses interest in Chicago. The franchise would be wise to move on from their current coaching regime. That is true. The Bears would be an intriguing fit and make sense as a viable option for Harbaugh heading into the offseason with the number 1 and number 9 overall picks in the 2024 NFL Draft, the 7th most cap space, and a defensive unit that turned a corner in the second half of the season. There's plenty to like about the idea of coaching the Bears. That's a spot. It is. And if it's not Chicago, the other spot that would be a perfect fit for Jim Harbaugh, the Las Vegas Raiders. That's right. They were killing it down the stretch. The Raiders, Sin City, Las Vegas. That town, the location, everything. Dude, yes. I don't know what I'd do if I'm Jim Harbaugh. That'd be a really tough decision. I mean, he's got it. And he's trying to figure it out. He's hired an agent. I will say this, and for him, look, the guy wears fucking khakis and, t-shirts and sweaters. Like, he's so goddamn basic that I don't think he's going there for the limelight, right? And same thing for Chicago. Like, this is a football coach. It's what he does. It's what he loves. It's who he is. And he's a sports fan, and he gets it. But, I mean, what a great spot. Now, the question is how close are the Raiders to winning? They finished strong down the stretch of this past season. But going forward, it says, unlike the two teams mentioned before, Las Vegas Raiders already fired their head coach during the season. After parting ways with Josh McDaniels, the franchise elected to roll with former NFL linebacker and current linebackers coach Antonio Pierce as the interim head coach. After being named interim coach, Pierce and the Raiders finished the final 9 games of the season with a 5-4 record, with superstar receiver Devontae Adams publicly expressing his desire for Pierce to be retained and named full-time head coach. If the Raiders choose to look past Adams' request, they better do so with the idea of hiring a coach of Harbaugh's pedigree if they want to keep one of their franchise cornerstones happy. We've seen the Raiders move on from an interim coach who had success in the brief stint in the past, as illustrated by Green Bay Packers special teams coordinator and assistant coach Rich Biscaria. In 12 games as the interim coach of the Raiders in 2021, Biscaria had a 7-5 record and guided the team to a playoff berth. Well, history repeated itself for the Raiders. Harbaugh may be the only viable coaching candidate worth dumping Pierce for and potentially rubbing one of your star players the wrong way. That's a tough one because if you can get Harbaugh, yeah, he's the hottest coach on the market. I'll tell you what, who else is going to be a hot coach? As soon as they figure out what's going on in New England, it's Bill Belichick. So it's going to be Belichick. It's going to be Harbaugh. Antonio Pierce did a fucking fantastic job. I wholeheartedly agree. So I'm not moving on from him unless it's for a huge game. The other problem with the Raiders, and this is an issue that I would have even if I'm Harbaugh going there, is the instability. I mean, Mark Davis is, I get it. Like, you want to just win, baby, and Al Davis and everything else. And, you got to respect that to an extent, but they haven't just won. They've fucking have just lost. So at what point do outside candidates look at that and be like, they don't have a winning culture? They don't. That's something that you'd have to try to bring back. Well, I think overall, if you look at the teams and just say those options right there, I think numero uno, it's still Chicago. I love Vegas. I'd probably choose Vegas. But Chicago, the fact that they have the draft picks, they have the salary cap space, you could build a juggernaut. And they played well down the stretch. So this is a team that is primed to break out. All right, that's about it. I've so much. I have 14 different articles right here. 14. I'm not kidding you. But we've already gone over our time, so onward and upward. I got a bunch I will save for tomorrow, including one on the science of friendship. But before we get out of here, let's go with a little James Allen. Quote, "You will be what you will be. Let failure find its false content in the poor word environment, but spirit scorns it and is free. It masters time. It conquers space. It cows that boastful trickster, chance, and bids the tyrant circumstance uncrown and fill a servant's place. The human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew a way to any goal through walls of granite intervene. Be not impatient in delay, but wait as one who understands. When spirit rises and commands, the gods are ready to obey." I think I need to read that like 15 more times to actually understand it. I mean, it looks like it was a poem. Let's see here. It says, "Let a man cease from his sinful thoughts, and all the world will soften toward him and be ready to help him. Let him put away his weakly and sickly thoughts, and lo, opportunities will spring up on every hand to aid his strong resolves. Let him encourage good thoughts, and no hard fate shall bind him down to wretchedness and shame. The world is your kaleidoscope, and the varying combinations of colors, which at every succeeding moment it presents to you, are the exquisitely adjusted pictures of your ever-moving thoughts." That's it. James Allen. All right. Everyone have a fantastic day. We'll be back on with the DH tomorrow morning. Stay safe out there. Wild weather across the country. And cheers to the snow that's falling outside right now. Let's see if you guys can see it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there you go. All right.